incredible comedians, some of the funniest queers the city has to offer. Coming up first, you've seen him perform all over the city. Please welcome Brian Rabideau!
Thank you, Bobby. Fucking living an adventurous life. Holy shit. I heard 3 STDs and fucking with olive oil, and I'm like, wow, that sounds like fun. I am very jealous. I wish I was out cruising the apps and fucking dudes from Philly. Instead, I have a boyfriend that makes me watch old clips from The View, so not nearly as fun. Hey, remember Rosie O'Donnell and Elizabeth Hasselbeck? I'm like, I don't care. I don't care at all. You've shown it to me too many times. I get it. It was very, very spicy. I am a gay. I'm one of those gays that you hear about. Yeah, I'm out there. I came out a few years ago. I called up one of my friends. I was like, hey, listen, I'm dating guys now. And he was very supportive about it. He was like, oh, dude, it doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, you still owe me money. In fact, why are you calling me right now? I thought I lost your number. Call me when you identify as someone who can pay me back for Applebee's. And then we'll actually give a shit. I get told a lot that I'm not the stereotypical gay. That's something people say to me. They're like, you don't look like the stereotypical gay. Which is kind of insulting, because when someone says you're not the stereotypical gay, all it means is that you're out of shape and you dress like shit. That's all that means. It's like, wow, they're so trim and thin in Hell's Kitchen, but you have a beer gut and ketchup on your shirt. How does that work out? You must be a top. Most of my friends are straight dudes, though, for the most part. Like, I grew up in Jersey, a lot of dumb straight dudes that I'm best friends with. Whenever I, like, call my friends to go somewhere, like, I called my friend Mike, I was like, hey, you want to go out? And he was like, well, is there going to be any pussy there? First question. Is there going to be any pussy there? I'm like, I don't know if there's going to be any pussy at the Museum of Natural History. I don't know, like, if there's going to be some hot poontang in the prehistoric exhibit of the Museum of Natural History. Maybe if you spit game in the astronomy exhibit, then you can go ahead and pull some tail. You know, I love my friends, but most of them are just, they're gross degenerates at the end of the day, all of them. Like, here's the thing, when COVID first started happening, I was very scared about it, but I also thought my immune system would be strong because I lived with 6 poor comedians, and they're a virus in and of themselves. Okay? Everyone was like, isn't it crazy that we have to wear a mask? And I'm like, I've been wearing a mask around Derek for years, okay? You don't have to share a bathroom with Derek. That is an awful, awful thing to go through. And they're like, well, COVID can do nasty stuff. And I'm like, yeah, Derek tried to cure chlamydia with coconut water, okay? I think that Derek might be a tad bit worse than COVID. They're on the same par. I don't know. I mean, and the pandemic was horrible. And I think what was crazy to me is I'm just very much surprised, like, who survived the pandemic. You know, because I have friends that I'm like, you shouldn't be alive in normal times, right? Let alone a pandemic. Like, 1 million plus people dead. None of them my friend Gruber, who has a tattoo of a toilet doing cocaine that says, 1 bump, 1 dump. That is a real person. That speechless silence is like, is that a real person? I swear to God, that is a real person right there. But no, so before my boyfriend, the last guy I hooked up with was a gay Republican. I know they exist. They sound like unicorns, but they are out there. He was very much DeSantis in the streets, but Mayor Pete in the sheets. You know what I mean? I like that joke so much. Oh, I fucking love that joke. I am a liberal, though. I voted for Biden in the last election. I know, shocker in New York. I will say this, though, about Joe. I'm tired of pretending that he looks fine. You know? Like, we can admit it. If you look inside his eyes, okay? Just look at his eyes. He's got the eyes of a 14-year-old dog, okay? They're hella milky. Like when all those assholes storm the Capitol and they're like, we need to storm the Capitol to take down Joe Biden. I'm like, you don't need to storm the Capitol to take down Joe Biden. A slick shower surface will do that for you. The one president that needs a life alert to Secret Service, I think you'll be good. I do follow an Instagram account that like encourages people to run for public office. And like I'll always see in their story, they're like, go ahead and run for something. Do you want a candidate that you can relate to? Well, you should run for something. And I'm like, if there's a candidate that I can relate to, they're not a qualified candidate. Okay? Because I'm a poor sack of shit. You know, I'm not going to the voting booth asking, hey, did this candidate also steal toilet paper from McDonald's? Like, that's not what I'm looking for. Did this candidate also get fired because he made memes at work? Because that's who we're going to need to lead us. I don't know, like, I'm a huge mooch, too. Like, I used to mooch food and weed from my roommates all the time. And I feel like if I ever, like, ran for office, like, that would be my big campaign scandal. You know, there'd be like a lot of attack ads, like in 2020, Brian Rabideau was so broke they paid for weed in all Sacagawea coins. Like that would come out. Brian Rabideau never threw fives on the blunt. Is this someone that you want running for public office right now? And I do feel like I would be like a little irresponsible. Like if I ever like became like the president, I would just hook up all my friends with cabinet positions. That's what I would do. I'd be like, Secretary of Health, yeah, how about my friend Derek, okay? And they'll be like, well, does Derek have any medical experience? And I'm like, no, he doesn't have medical experience, but he did tell me once that he cured chlamydia with coconut water. So maybe he's on to something right there, that Derek guy. So, I don't know. Like, it is great, though, that weed's legal. 420 just happened. I went to Washington Square Park, hung out with all the hippie freaks. I did stop smoking weed a little bit, though, because it started getting me too paranoid. You know, it was getting me too panicky. And it sucks, because most of my friends smoke weed, and they just chill out. They'll watch Rick and Morty. I smoke weed, and I'm like, I should call my grandma more. I don't. I call my grandma enough. I just wish drug dealers were like honest about like the kind of panic attacks that weed will give you. You know, I wish if they sold you, they're like, hey, this shit right here, one hit of this shit, and you'll spiral about how you didn't say I love you enough to your dad. Like that's what I wish drug dealers did. I did like get arrested in my early 20s for smoking weed, like way before it was ever legal in any state. I remember I was driving and I got pulled over, got arrested. And here's the thing, like going through the whole justice system made me realize that the justice system, it's completely run by frat bros, right? Like the cops are frat bros, the judges are frat bros. My lawyer, he gave me a call before my trial and he was like, listen, don't worry about it. I know the prosecutor who shot the shit. He's gonna drop all the charges. And I remember thinking, why do I get the feeling that my freedom relied on a fantasy football trade? You know, they're just doing keg stands in the backyard, like, all right, you give me the first round draft pick and Patrick Mahomes, I'll drop this kid to a misdemeanor. I also did have to cut back on drinking a little bit. I was boozing a little too much. No, it's true. I one time got so drunk that I blacked out and I woke up in the hospital. And that was a pretty scary experience. And here's a pro tip. If you ever black out drinking and wake up in the hospital, that bill will cost you $2,500. Just to black out and wake up in the hospital. That bill turned me from an alcoholic to a healthcare activist. Okay, because I'm calling my congressman like, I don't want to live in a country where Americans can't afford to black out in Burger King. We're gonna do it. Blackouts for Bernie 2024. We get that free health care for all us alcoholics that leave ice cream in the microwave. That is... That should be his campaign slogan. Do you leave ice cream in the microwave? Vote for me. That's my brainy impression. So no, I did mention that I have a boyfriend. I did like hook up with women in my early 20s. I gave women a shot. It was a good shot too. You know, I remember I hooked up with an older woman that was like 10. She was like 10, 15 years older than me, and the sex was okay, but the life advice was amazing. That was just amazing life advice. Have you ever gotten laid and learned how to use TurboTax? Like that's basically what happened to me. She told me to believe in myself. I wasn't attracted to her, but you know, I definitely invested in a 401k afterwards, so I appreciate her for that. I do have a boyfriend right now. He's actually a Broadway actor, which I can tell by that silence that you really believe me. No, and it's crazy because like he is like on Broadway and then I do this stupid shit. And like we were talking when we first started dating, and he was like, "Yeah, before COVID, I was touring with a company, Wicked. I was going to South Korea and Tel Aviv, touring with Wicked." And I was like, "Oh, before COVID, I did this show at a bar called The Blind Pig, where I got paid all in cocaine and chicken fingers." So that's. Go to The Blind Pig and ask for Fentanyl Frank, okay? But don't ask Fentanyl Frank how he got his name. Just know he's not allowed in the state of Kentucky anymore. Crazy Fentanyl Frank. My boyfriend is Puerto Rican, and he will only watch movies that have J-Lo in them. Which is super annoying when you watch Made in Manhattan for the 10th time. It's annoying because now I have to lie to get him to watch movies that I like. You know, I have to be like, "Oh, J-Lo? Oh, she's got a great cameo in this movie, Goodfellas." It's fucking amazing. There's this movie where J-Lo plays an oil baron in the early 20th century, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. And at one point she yells, "I abandoned my boy! You think it's Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood." But that's how good of a method actor that J-Lo is that she tricked everyone for years into thinking she was Daniel Day-Lewis, when it was really J-Lo the whole time. So, give it up for J-Lo, everybody. She's amazing. Thank you, One Woo. Everyone else is like, "No, we saw Anaconda. We don't fuck with it enough." I'm gonna get off after this. So I mentioned Goodfellas is my favorite movie. Love it. So I went back home to visit my mom. I was watching Goodfellas with her, and she was like, "You know, I dated Ray Liotta in high school." Oh. That was my response. I was like, "Get the fuck out of here, Kathy! You're pulling Ray Liotta D this whole time, and you're keeping it a family secret?" I'm like, "Well, what happened?" And she's like, "Well, I thought that I was going a little too fast with Ray." Which, yeah, that's what I said. Here's the thing. I don't know if you guys know this. Going a little too fast, that's Irish Catholic for I hit it and quit it. That's basically what that was. I was like, wow, my mom fucking pulled a smash and dash on Ray Liotta. It's crazy because now I'm like, fuck, man, my dad could have been Ray Liotta. Instead, my dad's a construction worker named Joe, who thought the vaccine turned me gay. So, okay, thank you. I'm Brian Randall. Peace.